Good Lord, I love talking to my family. All right, the moment is here. Yo, peoples! Whoa, 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 whoa! What happened to the frame rate? Oh my goodness! What happened to the frame rate? It went down just a slight smidge all of a sudden. Like it. Everything's all choppy now. What the heck? What happened? What happened to my image that I had? It was nice and smooth. I didn't exit out of my... You know what? We're gonna deal with it. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another instance of My Hero Academia. A lot of good emotionally driven things have been happening with My Hero, and it pretty much ended with Uraraka proclaiming to all these citizens that, hey, Midoriya needs to rest. He's a high school kid. He's just a high school kid. You can't expect him to have to suffer all this stuff by himself. And it has the fox lady that he saved and Koda running directly up to him in order to make sure he's okay. And now we get to start on the next chapter that happens afterwards with chapter 325. It shows Koda running through the rain, his feet going towards Midoriya, and Mineta is all like, Midoriya! And then Ida holds his hand out in front of Mineta. And then Mineta says, what gives, Ida? And then Ida says, this isn't our moment. Isn't that right, Uraraka? It's not the time for his friends to come to his aid. It's time for people who he has saved. His people... civilians, to let other civilians know that, hey, Midoriya, it's okay for Midoriya to be here, and that Midoriya has actually done something worth mentioning for these citizens here. But it shows Koda holding on to Midoriya and the fox lady coming up behind him, with Koda screaming out, Midoriya! Chapter 325, The Bonds of One for All.
I'm sorry, I was too scared to run over here. Sorry, so sorry. But then that lady stood up and said that stuff. I had to try because I want to be like you. That's why I am here.
Oh, my heart. Oh, my heart, this kid. Yo, he's blubbering and he's crying, but he has a big smile on his face saying, I am here. Oh, Koda. Ah! Oh, this kid gets it.
That's why I am here. Get it? You don't gotta cry anymore. You'll be okay.
And then Midoriya's just bawling his eyes out, saying, oh, Koda. And then the fox lady is standing up, and reminder, this fox lady is huge. She is a giant woman status, like Lady Domitresque big. And she's saying, you're a UA student then? Yes, miss. Several shelters turned me away. No heteromorphs allowed, they said. It was one rejection after the next until UA finally took me in. But well, this means I get to see you again. How lucky for me. And she's tearing up as well. Thank you for saving me, my crybaby hero. And she just embraces him as well. And then all the citizens are looking on. And then the guy who was there with Midoriya the day that we see Midoriya for the first time is holding an umbrella saying, instead of freaking out and laying blame every which way, why don't we take a moment and hear these folks out? The boy's not asking to kick up his feet and stay here forever, right? But supplies and good help are hard to find out there these days. So if the boy needs a break before the world grinds him down to nothing, this place is his last best bet. Yo, the citizens are turning around all because of this one. Yo, let's do it. That's the long and short of it, right, heroes? And then Principal Nezu says, indeed. And then there's still people saying, there's still this one dude saying, there's still one guy saying, why not Shiketsu then, if they got the same setup? And then a woman next to him says, except they'd probably react the same way over there. You opened up your mouth and now you don't put your foot in your mouth. The same thing would happen if Midoriya went over to Shiketsu High. The citizens, not knowing what's going on, seeing that he's the one that Shigaraki and All For One are coming after, would treat him the exact same way. Only the difference would be Uraraka wouldn't be there to try and set these people straight. You see why it pays to shut up? Ye who are doing nothing to help the heroes except take up space? And then the dude just shuts up. Then the old guy with the, like the star shapes on his head, like the star-shaped growths on his head, says, "To be frank, until our world went downhill, I never really realized it myself. How I was like a spectator and heroes were performers on a stage. Finally someone understands why I look at civilians the way I do. Everyone's just a spectator watching all the heroes do performing acts. And then when they do good, you applaud them. But when they do bad, you boo them. Finally, someone is acknowledging how every single person in society acted this way. Finally, someone is speaking up. Horikoshi, you absolute wordplay, story-driven god, you. Thank you. To be frank, until our world went to heck and all, I never really realized it myself. How I was like a spectator and heroes were performers on a stage. Once upon a time, the unmatched All Might showed us all how to be a hero. He was the act to follow, and everybody cheered him on. But along the way, people forgot about the heart and soul that made that man. The stage is gone now. The theater's knocked down. With failure after failure, heroes can't be hoping for glory and riches at this point. So many of those folks we once called heroes have hung up their capes. Think about it. Those ones who are still left, still fighting, what do you think they're fighting for? If we reject the ones still standing up for what's right, what do we even got left? How there'll be any chance in heck of going back to our old lives? Sure, we're all hurting here, but let's stop and use our heads. How long can we be spectators on the sidelines? Oh my goodness, I love this man. I love this man. I love this man. This same dude who was there at the beginning of this series, he gets it. This one man gets it. Yes, this man gets it. This man gets exactly what I've been saying against every single one of these civilians. This man gets it. Finally, someone understands! Yes! Finally! Oh my goodness, I am more hyped for this chapter than I was for One Piece. Finally, someone gets it. How long can we be spectators on the sidelines? And then there's the same dude with the t-shirt, with the All Might t-shirt, who was having such an issue before. And then he says, "There are rumors of a guy with multiple quirks dressed in rags. They say he's either an agent of the villains or maybe a true hero. So tell us, say you get to rest here for now. Will we get to go back to our old lives eventually?" And then Midoriya says, "Everyone is in this together with me, so yes. We'll bring it all back." And then the guy buttons up his lip, and it looks like he's about to cry, and then we cut to the outer walls of UA. And we got Ectoplasm here. That's his name, Ectoplasm. And he pops up saying, Did you happen to hear Uravity's speech?" And he's talking to Endeavor, Hawks, and Shoto. And then he says, "Come in and see for yourselves. All is well, at least for the time being." And then it shows Shoto running directly in. Or at least it looks like he's running directly in. And it shows Hawks, Shoto, and Endeavor walking. And then Endeavor says, "In the end, all we did was cause more pain for Deku. No real progress, just a roundabout way of getting to this point." And then Hawk says, "No progress? I disagree. We're seeing it here. One for All is a network of power that links people's hearts. It tied All Might to Midoriya. Then Class A kept Midoriya in the game, and Uravity linked these people to Midoriya. If all of us, are even a little bit capable of seeing each other as united as one, then I see a future where heroes have time to kill. Oh. I see a future where heroes have time to kill. One so bright we can't help but grin. And it shows. Oh my goodness. This is the most perfect double-paged panel I have ever seen in My Hero right now. It shows Midoriya still crying, being led by Ida through all the citizens. The citizens are taking their umbrellas that they were keeping for themselves and covering up the students of UA. The same dude who spoke out about Midoriya even being there is the very one holding his umbrella over him. Inko, his mother, is holding him while he's being led through the crowd of civilians, crying her eyes out. And Bakugo is just making sure that the way Bakugo and Kaminari are clearing the way, making sure everyone's good, but everyone is actually taking the time to make sure everyone is okay. As Midoriya is being led through here, and everyone is just, wow. This has got to be one of the best chapters. I'm just saying this right now, and I'm not even done with this chapter. This has got to be one of the most emotional chapters. I actually thought I was going to tear up there for a quick second there, and no lie. Because this moment is so monumentally moving. So perfect in what it encapsulates for all of these characters right here and right now. This is such a god tier panel right now. Going on to the next page, Shoto is smiling, and then Shoto says, "Father, we do this together." And then the image of Toya, aka Dabi, pops up in their heads. And then Endeavor just tips his fedora down, milady, and says, "Yeah." And then Cement tosses there with the principal Nezu saying, "This was beyond my power, but your class achieved it, Aizawa." And we see Aizawa sitting on his bed, listening to all this go down. "Huh. Be sure to tell my class president job well done for me." And then Principal Nezu says, "How's the leg faring?" "I won't be the next Mirko, I can tell you that." "And Kurogiri?" "I try to speak to him every day, but no progress on that point." So Aizawa now has a prosthetic left leg now, and it's mechanical, and given the technological advancements of My Hero, it is pretty good for him, considering he lost it with his fight with Shigaraki. "I try to speak to him every day, but no progress on that point." The breakthrough, and then it shows Principal Nezu right there. "The breakthrough you and Mike had was the inspiration to ship some Nomu Kurogiri included, to Central Hospital in secret and begin restorative research. The copy of his quirk was pulverized by Mirko, but if you hadn't reached through to Shirakumo's spirit that day, no place on this planet would be an impenetrable stronghold any longer. It may be faint and as elusive as a cloud, but there remains a wisp of hope for us." "Still getting up the strategy against Toga?" "Yes. We have inferred the limitations of her quirk in terms of quantity of blood ingested and transformation duration. Accordingly, we are only admitting evacuees into UA after keeping them in isolation for long enough." "Then UA really is our stronghold, and it's time for payback." "Yes, of course." And then it just shows All Might. It just shows All Might outside of the walls of UA, just by himself. And that's the end of the chapter. What is All Might doing out there? Why isn't he inside with everyone else? 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. This is a 10 out of 10 chapter. I love this chapter. I actually love this chapter more than I love the One Piece chapter I just got done reading. This was a great chapter. This was a great chapter. To be continued, as you know. And that's the end of that chapter. Wow, yes, this is exactly how you do it. This is exactly how you do it. All this stuff culminating. I know it seems like my image is choppy. It's just that some stuff got messed around. This is something else. All Might is leaving? Could that be what that means? Could that possibly be what that means? I really hope that All Might does not see himself as someone who can be a good role model for Midoriya or any other of the other heroes, since everyone is really majorly stepping up right now. I really hope All Might doesn't feel like he doesn't have anything else to offer. I really hope that's not the reason why he's gone. It appears like he's leaving. I really hope that's not the case. Like he has nothing to give anymore. I really hope that's not the case. But overall, this was a great chapter. Maybe All Might is going to get captured, forcing the heroes to come out. Maybe. Has anyone watched the latest season of My Hero? Because I haven't seen a single episode yet. Is it any good? Grant, I'm with you right there. I am with you right there. I have not. I've told people that I was going to start season 5 of My Hero, but I have yet to start it. And given that there's probably more than enough episodes to keep me occupied for a nice long while, I pretty much have a lot of episodes to watch through. But I'll get to it when I get to it. Kyushu simp for the star ear man. I only applaud him because he literally says what we all have been saying and no one else has been saying in these chapters. What we, the readers, have been saying, and no one in the civilians' lines of sight have been saying at all. He literally said it word for word, the exact feelings that we all felt. That alone made this one of the most phenomenal chapters in My Hero, period. Him saying, like, all this time we've just been spectators, cheering on the heroes. But what happens when that stage is destroyed? What happens when the theater is gone and we're not able to praise these heroes? We only praise the power of this man, but we never think about the heart and soul of that man. We never think of the heart and soul of these heroes. We'll talk about the heroes that have left us, but what about the heroes who are still fighting? Why do we have to be so hard on them? The fact that they're still fighting should be massively commended. Well, I'm just paraphrasing that last sentence, but you understand. This dude said everything that needed to be said. Hold on, I gotta go right back to it. He said, once upon a time, the unmatched All Might showed us all how to be a hero. He was the act to follow and everybody cheered him on. But along the way, people forgot about the heart and soul that made that man. The stage is gone, bit my tongue again. The theater's knocked down. With failure after failure, heroes can't be hoping for glory and riches at this point. So many of those folks we once called heroes have hung up their capes. Think about it. Those ones who are still left fighting, what do you think they're fighting for? If we reject the ones still standing up for what's right, what do we even have left? How will there be any chance in heck of going back to our old lives? Sure, we're all hurting here, but let's stop and use our heads. How long can we be spectators on the sidelines? The exact perfect words for the situation. This dude is basically saying, how long are we just going to sit by and watch and let everyone else just solve all our problems and not try and come up with solutions for ourselves? Because we're in this all together. It's not just the heroes fighting this fight by themselves. We're in this too. How long are we going to be spectators? That alone just set it off for me for this whole chapter. The whole chapter was amazing. Oh my god, this chapter was amazing. There's nothing more I can say about it. And then the massive double panel where it shows Midoriya being led by, not only led by his mom and Ida so he can go rest, but also the civilians who had such an aversion to him being there are taking their own umbrellas that they were using to take care of their own selves and just covering up the students of UA and covering up Midoriya. Even the biggest loudmouth who had an issue with Midoriya even being there was the very one who was shielding him from the rain with his own umbrella, making sure that Midoriya was okay. All it takes is that one push, that one fundamental push to nudge people in the right direction. And that in the speech from Uraraka and the speech from the star-eared dude, perfect. It was exactly what they needed. And this is exactly what society needed to nudge them into a new dawn. I'm talking about new dawns in One Piece, but this is the exact moment that they all needed for society to start to change. Now I can stop talking. Oh my goodness, you guys have no idea how much, even though I had no issue talking about just how mind-numbingly stupid the civilians are, I'm actually glad that I feel like I don't need to talk about them in that manner anymore. Because the speeches and people actually using their brains before their mouths in order to thinking before they speak, I'm glad that people are starting to see reason now. I'm glad people are starting to see reason. So now I can stop talking about how mind-numbingly stupid and selfish civilians are after this chapter. I'm so glad that I can do that right now. Because now they're starting to realize that, hey, we're all in this together. I am never, ever doing that again. I was making a point. Do not expect me to do any more High School Musical references ever in the history of this channel. But it took this moment for them to realize that, hey, we are not in this by ourselves and we're just watching the heroes take care of everything. We have to band together and stand together if we ever hope to survive and see tomorrow. And then when the guy says, like, say you get to rest here for now, can you say that we'll be able to go back to our old lives eventually? And Midoriya promises him, says, with you together, with everyone together with me, yes, we will bring our old lives back. And that's more than enough for everyone to say, like, okay, then we stand with you. And then it's just an amazing chapter. Then we see Aizawa, Aizawa Sensei, in his room recovering. We see his prosthetic leg. He still has like a patch over his eye because he got injured into that eye. And he's recovering. Kurogiri, along with some Nomu, were sent to a central hospital in secret in order for them to fully research how to reverse what's going on with Kurogiri. Because if Kurogiri had free reign and was still with Shigaraki, he'd fundamentally pretty much just circumnavigate every defense they could ever have. Because Kurogiri is basically your one-stop shopping for teleporting anywhere with no limitations. So with Kurogiri currently bound up and being researched on in restorative research, the hopes of Kurogiri returning back to being a Shirakumo at some point, that's underway. Hoping that, because with them having the Nomu, I honestly believe that they're going to try and work out how to reverse the Nomu effects in the hopes of maybe reversing how Kurogiri is and bring him back to the way he was before. So that's going on. And then it just ends with All Might looking like he's leaving UA. Now, some of y'all have been saying, like, maybe All Might will probably die, like Sir Night Eyes said, like, if he continues down this path, he'll assuredly die. I feel us seeing All Might, E-Man says, I feel like us seeing All Might leave UA behind right as Deku arrives tells us that these two won't be seeing each other again, I think. We'll just have to see how the story goes on from here. All I can say, honestly, is that I'm glad that the whole ordeal of the debate of whether Midoriya is going to be able to stay at UA is over and done with. Now we can start the comeback. Like Aizawa says, like, yeah, it's time for payback. Like, let me go back to this chapter. Yeah, it shows Aizawa saying that UA really is our stronghold, because they're also talking about the strategy against Himiko Toga, since she has the ability to not only ingest the blood of people and transform into them, but she's awakened it to the point where she can use the quirks of people's that she ingests as well. So they need to be careful about Himiko Toga, since she can basically just take on the disguise of anyone if she has their blood and just cause outward chaos. And Principal Nezu is, accounting for Himiko Toga being amongst their group, because that's why he was keeping people in isolation, because there's a certain duration to how long her quirk can last. The more blood she ingests, the more she can last. But Principal Nezu sees that if he kept people in isolation without them being able to, go in and out too often, then that limits her ability to use her transformation quirk because of him taking that into account. Principal Nezu has foreseen so much of this and has anticipated all of this so effortlessly. He may not have the foresight of All for One, but if I have to think of anyone who could create countermeasures to All for One on a grand scale, Principal Nezu is that individual. Because this dude came up with the defense of UA and the strongholds and being able to shift UA underground just in case there's a major battle above ground, way back when Shigaraki broke into UA the very first time. That's how much foresight Principal Nezu had in order to take all of this into consideration and put this into action. So if there was a hero equivalent to future foresight versus All for One, Principal Nezu would be that individual. So now he's already formulating strategies to combat the quirk of Himiko Toga, just in case she was able to try and infiltrate the UA stronghold as it is right now. So that's going on right now. But Aizawa says, yeah, it's payback time. It's time that we take the fight to them. As soon as Midoriya fully rests up and your boy finally gets to sleep. He finally gets to eat. He finally gets to rest. He's been doing so much fighting. And now he gets to rest. Principal Nezu is smarter than Shikamaru. Shikamaru can think numerous steps ahead of an enemy, but Principal Nezu can literally think months ahead of people. So I feel like Principal Nezu is smarter than Shikamaru. Shikamaru is a bona fide genius, but Principal Nezu is the genius that teaches the geniuses that teaches geniuses like Shikamaru. That's how smart Principal Nezu is. But overall, this was a great chapter. Sorry if this is not as long as my One Piece reaction, but we'll be able to talk about. I know, Grant, you were talking about things at the beginning. That sleep finna hit different, bruh. That sleep after you take a nice hot shower and you get some food in your stomach as well. 2 sheets in the wind. That boy is gonna be out. That's gonna be the best sleep he has ever had in weeks. In mere weeks, that is gonna be the best. That sleep is gonna be like, that dude ain't gonna never wanna get up. You ever go long periods of time without sleeping and then you sleep and it's like, God, thank you for sleep. Thank you for beds. Thank you for comforters and blankets and pillows and bed sheets and pillowcases and bed frames and soft mattresses. Thank you for all of that. That's how that's going to feel for Midoriya. That dude, the rest that this boy is about to feel is going to be beyond anything he's felt in a very long time. You never know how good something is until you haven't had it for a while. You never know how good sleep is until you haven't had it for a full week or weeks on end. And then when you rest, it's like, I can't believe I was going without sleeping after all this time. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts eating a bento lunch and he thinks about how he treated All Might way back when. I wouldn't be surprised if that pops up. But we'll just have to see what happens. The next chapter we get. Now, it says that we have 7 days until the next chapter, but with it having to be continued, you never know. So we'll just have to see what happens in the next chapter. All I know is Midoriya is about to get the sleep and second wind that he's most needed after all this time. Not just Midoriya, but pretty much everyone else as well. The students of UA going out of their way to try and get their hands on Midoriya and make him see reason. Everyone involved with bringing Midoriya back, they all get to rest and sleep. That is what matters. Pretty sure people will die without sleep for over a week. That's average people. Midoriya was running off of One for All and all the boosts from there, so can you imagine how the sleep and rest is going to feel for him? All I know is that Midoriya is on a quick path to recovery, and then we can prepare for Midoriya to go back out there and take the fight to All for One. Because All for One probably wasn't accounting for the students and his friends going out of their way to bring him back and make him rest and everything. He was counting on Midoriya. Either he was kind of counting on Lady Nagant being the one to bring him in, and when she failed, he blew her up. And he was also, so he continued to push Midoriya, have all his hired guns that go out there and make him tired. He literally faltered when he went up against the hired gun called Dictator. Had it not been for the students of UA coming in to rescue Midoriya, Midoriya would have been apprehended and captured by All for One right there. That is what All for One was hoping for. He was hoping for Midoriya to be so tired that he could offer up no resistance whatsoever. But since Class UA came out of nowhere and rescued Midoriya, that kind of throws that angle out of the window. So now that Midoriya will be able to finally rest after such a long time, I feel like it's been months since we've seen the chapters of Midoriya going out of his way to go through the city and beating up Muscular and beating up all these hired guns, showing his All Might, his prime All Might speed, and all these things. Now he finally gets to rest after everything that he's been doing out there. And I have to say, the boy deserves it. And I'm glad this chapter starts that. I'm so happy that Midoriya finally gets to rest. You guys don't even know. We've seen this man put himself through pretty much hell and back. And now, he finally gets to rest. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for them all. From Bakugo apologizing to Midoriya for everything, to Uraraka showing that she has what it takes to be a true hero, even though she's still a student at UA. Ida going out of his way to remind Midoriya that you saved me from the darkness, now let me save you. People who have such a close connection to Midoriya, going out of their way to tell Midoriya, it's okay, we're here with you. My Hero is such a great story. It is such a great story. But I'm just happy that this Midoriya gets to rest and everyone gets to rest. So now it's not going to be just Midoriya going out there trying to take the fight to All for One. It's going to be Midoriya and all of his friends. Because reminder, all of his friends are training to become great heroes as well. So what All for One is not counting on is Midoriya having all these friends to back him up. Because his quirk literally is, All for One is literally the personification is all for one. All for myself. Whereas One for All is one for all people. One for everyone. So now All for One's going to have to deal with not only Midoriya, but a bunch of different heroes and class and all of UA going up against them. Not just One for All, but One for All and everyone else. And that is a force that All for One is not really counting on. He's got all this future sight, but even his future sight is still selfish. But overall, this was a fantastic chapter, and I cannot wait to see what the next one has. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm going to draw this stream to a close. I enjoyed this chapter immensely. One of the greatest chapters of My Hero Academia ever. 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 If not the best. As of right now. But I enjoyed it. This was a 10 out of 10 chapter, 100 out of 100. And I will fight anyone who says so otherwise. Because this chapter was just that great. But it was good. That's all I got for you guys. We'll be able to talk more. Grant, I know you were talking about live action of Avatar was terrible, and so were the new Star Wars movies. We'll talk about that once I'm streaming later on after I'm done doing my reaction to One Piece. But with that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.